Hi everyone, I'm Christina from hairomance.com and I'm here today with the wonderful Grant Withnell, who's the Schwarzkopf National Technical Educator. And he is here to help us answer some questions about Plex technology. I've had so many questions. You get lots of questions, I'm sure, as well.
Loads of questions.
And it's a new technology for hair that is unlike anything else on the market. You may have heard about there's lots of different brands, but we're going to talk about how the technology works today.
Absolutely. Well, Plex has been, first of all, it's the biggest innovation that's happened in the hairdressing world, I suppose, for the last 40 years. It's quite amazing how it works. Now, there's a lot of misconceptions about it, so I'm going to try and explain in a very simple way how Plex actually does what it does. Okay, so Plex has been around for maybe about 4 years now, and it started with lots of different brands, and it's become very, very popular. And there's a lot of little misconceptions about it. So this is how it actually works. So Plex, the easiest way to understand it is if you think of a ladder. Okay, so think of a ladder of the two outside bits of the ladder, and then you've got rungs going across. So the two outside bits represent the two structures within the hair, and the rungs are the bit that hold those two bits together. Now, without going into too much science, because obviously, let's face it does get boring. But really, it works by basically taking what's called a crystalline filament and reinforcing that. So when you colour hair, it reinforces the structure of the hair, improving the hair's integrity, therefore making the hair appear a lot healthier, but also it makes the hair feel a lot smoother and a lot more elastic than it did before. And it also enables us to take hair from really dark to really blonde, which until Plex came around was not possible, because obviously what would happen is you would have what we like to call a chemical haircut, which nobody wants to happen. So this opened up a whole new world, Plex.
So it's stopping the breakage and it's strengthening the hair?
Yeah. Actually strengthens the hair during the colouring process, but can also be used in care as well. So it was originally developed just in salon, so it would be added into the product that whatever colour service you were having, you would add Plex into it, which would restructure the bonds within the hair and reinforce them during the lightening process. Now that was really significant because it meant that you could take hair to different levels of lightness and you could still keep the integrity of the hair without kind of thinking, oh, am I doing too much harm here to the hair? You know, one of the main things people want is healthy hair. So, you know, you don't want to be doing too much harm to it. So Plex was invented to be able to do just that. Restructure the bonds in the hair, creating a solid surface within the hair, which increases the integrity of the hair.
But it's not just colour that damages our hair. What other ways can we be damaging our hair?
There are so many ways. And we don't actually think about it. But I mean, in Australia, we always think of one, which would be, sunlight.
The sun, yeah.
You know, we spend all our lives out in the sun. So, of course, that's going to damage your hair. But things that people don't consider that cause hair damage are the things I find interesting, like water. You know, if you colour your hair, you'll understand this. Yeah. You know, the more you wet your hair, even if you don't shampoo it, the more you wet your hair if you colour it, the faster the colour will fade. And this is where Plex actually can help as well, because what Plex does is it retains the pH of the hair within a certain value, which means the hair doesn't swell as much, which means colour can't pass in and out, and water can't pass in and out of the hair as readily, which makes it much more accessible for a colour to last longer.
Oh, that makes so much sense, because every time you wet your hair, the hair swells and that breaks some of the bonds, and this stops the hair from absorbing as much and limiting that process.
Yeah, you basically don't want hair to absorb too much moisture. If you do, what's going to happen is it swells further, colour can wash in and out. And the more you colour your hair, obviously the more you have colour fading as well. And, you know, if you're spending money colouring your hair and the time, you want it to last as long as possible.
Absolutely. And also, all of that moisture is frizz. It's the same thing,
It's like her curly hair. I've got curly hair too.
Oh, do you?
Just like yours.
Do you?
Yeah, it's smoke and mirrors.
Oh, wow, it looks great.
Thank you.
And so, talking of curly hair, is Plex better for one type of hair, or does it work across all types?
It works across any hair type, really. Absolutely any hair type you can work with Plex. It's interestingly, because if you've got hair that's maybe colouring it a lot and it's feeling a bit, let's say it's a little bit dry, a little bit fluffy, a little bit fuzzy, once you colour your hair again with Plex added to it, the hair feels so much better. It's quite incredible, and it's something that's really hard to explain to people, because it's not so much about the look, it's about how it feels, and the feel of it is what is really, really good. So for me, when I'm showing people about it, I sort of emphasise more about feel your hair now, like feel it before, and now feel it. Like there's a huge difference between it.
And so even, we're talking about Plex being in colour technology. What does the Plex part actually look like?
Really, really simple. And people think it's going to be some big fandangle thing. This is the Plex component that goes into Colour Specialist.
That's
all
it.
right? That's it. It's got number 1 written on it. So for anyone who colours their hair at home, you'll know. You mix up your colour. You've got your developer. Oh, here. Got your developer. Got your colour. You mix the two together as you normally would. And then all you do, break that seal and add that in. Shake it up. Apply your colour as per normal. That's all you have to do. There's no difficulty about it. There's no, oh, I've got to mix all this up. It's very, very simple. It's basically 5 mils. And that is the miracle thing that you want when you're colouring your hair using Plex. That little thing there.
And I swear it does make such a difference. I couldn't be this colour without it, and my hair would not feel the same without it.
No, it doesn't. And you'd find it would go fluffy and fuzzy as well.
Yeah.
So that's the step 1 which you put into your colour. So I suppose I'll explain this to you while I'm thinking about it, because once you've done this bit, you just process your colour as you normally would, like anybody was colouring their hair at home would. Then you have step 2. Now, step number 2 is basically, think of your old conditioner. It's not technically what it is, but it's used in the same way. So once you've coloured your hair, you put this on, leave it 2, 3, 5 minutes, or whatever. You know, if you've only got 1 minute, leave it 1 minute. Let's face it, we're all busy. Obviously, a couple of minutes I would recommend, and then you just rinse it off as you would any conditioner. All right, then just style your hair as per normal.
Great.
So that's great. So what happens then is 3 weeks down the track, also in the box you get this one, which is number 3. So in 3 weeks' time, pop this in your hair. What this does is reinforce everything you've done with step 1 and 2, and 3 weeks later you'll probably be colouring your hair again, because most people colour their hair about on average every 6 weeks. So, and if you've got short hair, just use half of it.
And so could you use that more frequently if you had short hair? You could use it.
I would.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I've got short hair and I'm colouring it, I would use, obviously you'd use all of the Plex, all of number 1. But if you've got shorter hair, there's no reason why you can't split the conditioner, this part, in half, number 2. Use half now, half in a week's time. 3rd week, go half of this. 4th week, use half of that.
And then colouring again.
Colouring again. So there's no reason why you can't.
And so now, you said there's other ways we damage our hair. So can you still use Plex if you're not colouring your hair?
Yeah, absolutely. You can use it for anyone. I'd recommend it for anyone. Honestly, you can.
And I'd say the same, because I think it makes a huge difference if you've got fine frizzy hair or curly frizzy hair. Having a Plex treatment has made such a difference to my hair.
Yeah, and also like in today, you can buy products that Schwarzkopf have in a retail environment, which are perfect for it.
So nice to be able to do it at home, because it does take a long time, or it can be a lengthy process. So what's the at-home one we can do?
At home one, we've got Fiber Therapy shampoo and Fiber Therapy conditioner.
And this has got the same ingredients as in that? Okay.
Omegaplex is what it's called. If you see the word Plex, just while I think about it, if you see the word Plex on anything, they're all a similar product. They just have different brand names. So ours, for our retail brand, is called Omegaplex, and our professional one is called Fibreplex. So the salon one we use. But step number 3 is this one. Shampoo and conditioner, and this is your leave-in product.
This is amazing. I love this stuff.
Yeah, it is pretty good.
I love it.
I'm
Smells really good too.
a fan of this one. But the thing I would recommend to absolutely anybody, and this is just going off topic for a minute, but seriously, the one thing I'd recommend everybody using are leave-in conditioners. Apart from anything else, I know people with fine hair are going to say, if I use a leave-in conditioner, my hair's going to go flat.
Oh, not with this one. Not at all. This is actually, I'm surprised, because my hair drinks up a lot of product, but this is light but feels different. Yeah, you can really feel the difference.
It's funny, because it's one of those products you put in here and then there's no residue from it. There doesn't feel. Sometimes you use a product and you go, I can feel that.
And because I use other products when I'm styling my hair, it doesn't interfere. Like, it doesn't matter when I layer it in. It's actually just a great product on its own, or lay it in with others.
And also with curly hair, anything like this, you can spray it in when it's dry. You'd probably know this as well. I know, because I've got curly hair. If you spray this in, like you get up in the morning, you haven't got time to do it. If you just spray a leave-in conditioner, like something like this in, give it a bit of a scrunch, done.
That's how I refresh mine.
Yeah, exactly, because we don't want to start all over again every day.
Who has time for that?
Not me.
And so I think the biggest question, it's a little bit of the confusing thing, is some people think that a Plex treatment is like a keratin treatment, but that's a protein, isn't it? It's not at all the same thing. Completely different thing. They're not at all the same.
So very quickly, keratin, the hair is made up of keratin. I'm sure viewers will know that. Keratin is the same substance as your nails, same as a rhino's horn, which they're now spray painting bright pink. Have you noticed, so that people don't cut them off anymore?
That's so good.
How do they camouflage themselves in the jungle? They've got a bright pink nose. Got off track there. Anyway, back to what I was talking about. So keratin. Most, if you see shampoos, conditioners, treatments, things, you'll see them, they'll have keratin in them, they'll hydrolyze keratin, whatever they've got in them. Keratin is actually used in hair care products to reinforce the hair, to give it strength, to give it a smoothness along the surface. So those treatments, which are keratin treatments, are called penetrating treatments. So they're designed to penetrate the hair, put in some protein, and make the hair feel really, really good. Plex is not part of that. Plex, what Plex does is reform bonds within the hair, which is what gives you the strength.
I love that metaphor thing. Is it's more like the ladder. So it's reforming the ladder, and then the keratin sits around.
If you want, fills in the gaps between is probably the easiest way to explain it. But that's how it works. So a keratin treatment is very different from that. So in hair care, you can add Plex to an existing treatment. So it gives you the protein, it gives you that, but the Plex is the bit that will reform the rungs on the ladder, which will give you, I always think of it this way, this is how the easiest way I can explain it to people. If you've ever seen a dodgy ladder, right, and it wobbles like that, once you re-strengthen those rungs within it, it becomes rigid like that, which is what you want the hair to feel like. I mean, it sounds like I'm making it feel like wood, but it's not. It's actually just the integrity of the hair that's being reinforced.
And so it's strengthening that, and then, those other ones.
Yeah, and the keratin's just adding to it, and you can also have moisture added into hair care products. Same thing. They do the same thing, but Plex stands completely alone in how it actually does what it does.
Yeah, because some people, especially with curly hair, can say that their hair's a little bit sensitive to protein. Yeah. But this is actually, it's not overloading the hair, it's actually rebuilding the structure.
Yeah, no, you can never really overload with Plex, I don't think. You know, I mean, I suppose you could have used it every day, but who's going to do that?
Who's washing their hair every day? No.
Not me. Oh, I do.
Oh, your hair's short. I can't. I don't have enough time in the day to wash my hair every day.
Yeah, if I didn't wash my hair every day, it would smell because I run every day. Yeah, no one wants stinky hair.
And so now, as we've been talking about Plex, there's the new at-home range. And what's this range of the colour called?
Colour Specialist. Ta-da! So this is actually pretty exciting for me. Not everyone can afford to go to the salon, all right? And that's nothing that...
Either time or
you've got kids, you know, you've got to find a babysitter for the kids because it's really hard to take kids into a salon. There's stuff that can burn them. There's stuff that can stab them. Do you know what I mean? It's not a kid-friendly zone. Yeah. So if you're like that, then you've got to organise babysitter. So for some people, it's just not feasible. So why shouldn't they have access to this at home? So we launched Colour Specialist with Omegaplex in it.
And this is the first Plex product to market.
Yeah, absolutely, in retail, absolutely. 9 shades, it is so easy to use. Like I just said, just add the Plex into the colour, process it as per normal. 9 lovely shades.
Fantastic. Yeah. And how long does that colour last normally?
Well, colours last... Permanent colours are permanent, but as all colour fades, what will happen is over a period of time it will lighten up. Well, actually, while you mentioned that, I'm just going to tell you one of the biggest things people do wrong colouring their hair at home, and it's one of my pet peeves, so that's why I'm going to say it. Yeah. If you've coloured your hair with a permanent colour, it has permanently changed the colour of your hair for good. It's permanent. All right? That means even though if the colour has faded, if you put another colour over the top, colour on top of colour will always go darker. What will end up is you'll gradually get darker and darker and darker. So if you colour your hair regularly, follow the instructions for the regrowth application. Do just the root area. All right? It is one of the easiest things to get wrong, and it is one of the hardest things to fix. So just always be aware of that. Colour on top of colour will always go darker.
That is an amazing tip. Thank you, Grant.
That's all right. You're most welcome.
I have really struggled to understand Plex technology. I could feel the difference in my hair, but I didn't. That ladder analogy makes so much sense to me.
It's the easiest way to understand it. Yeah. It really is. If you always just picture the ladder, because if we go into all the bonds behind it all, it becomes...
And then I'll start glazing over.
Yeah, and everybody does, and it's my job. So just think of the ladder analogy as the easiest way to understand it.
Perfect. And we're looking for fibre therapy range and the Colour Specialist.
Absolutely.
Out now. Great.
Absolutely available now in all great stores.
Thanks so much for watching, and thank you, Grant.
You're most welcome.
I hope you liked this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and if you've got any more questions, Grant and I can answer some more questions in the comments below. Yeah. And and please subscribe to Hairomance so you don't miss my next video as well. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.